From the actor struggling with his growing fame, to him taking a break to focus on his mental health, here's the real reason Tom Holland hates Hollywood. Tom, the most baby girl of baby girls, fell in love with acting when he was only 9 years old and began his career back in 2008, starring in the musical Billy Elliot. Holland also landed roles in movies like The Impossible, How I Live Now, In the Heart of the Sea, and the TV drama Wolf Hall. But his big break came when he became Marvel's new Peter Parker in 2016. After a small role in Captain America's Civil War, everyone knew him as the man in the blue and red suit, and they were obsessed. He's starred in 3 of his own Spider-Man movies since then, and keeps getting more and more popular with each one. But despite being in the business for ages, Tom still isn't used to all the glitz and glamour that comes with the job. He doesn't hide how hard it is for him to be a part of Hollywood, and says the industry scares him. The actor loves making movies, but thinks being a star is a whole other story. He feels like he can't really fit in with the crowd, and tries to remove himself as much as he can. Tom says all he wants is to live a normal life, but understands how crazy that sounds because he's a household name at this point. While talking about why he's so terrified of the business, he said he's afraid he'll lose who he is. He's seen it happen to many people before him, and worries about himself. He gave examples of people he knew growing up, who he's no longer friends with because Hollywood changed them. The actor talked about how he deals with all the crazy, and said he tries to focus on the things that matter to him. His friends and family, hobbies like carpentry and golf, and his mom's charity are what make him happy, and the actor always picks those over everything. It's clear Tom's serious about keeping his life together, because when he realized he's gone a bit overboard with his drinking, he went sober, and has been that way since. He talked about his decision to quit, and said even though he knew he had a problem, the getting sober part wasn't exactly planned. Like many Brits, Holland had a very, very boozy December in 2021. It was Christmas, he was on vacation, and because he knew he could handle a lot of alcohol, he drank a lot of alcohol. But after the month was over, he started worrying about his health and wondered if he'd become an alcoholic. To prove himself wrong, the actor tried Dry January, a challenge in which people give up drinking for the first month of the year. During those weeks, the actor realized how far gone he was, because he was miserable without alcohol, to say the least. He opened up about the whole thing in July 2023, saying all he could think about those days was having a drink. He said he didn't know where the hours went, and that was terrifying. After the month was over, his mind went, wow, maybe I do have a problem with drinking. And so, as a way to punish himself, the actor said he'd stay sober throughout February too. Once again, he told himself, if he can make it 2 months without alcohol, then he can prove there's nothing wrong with him. But reality hit Holland hard when even after 2 months he was struggling, and his social life had become a mess. He couldn't go to the pub, because what would he do there? He couldn't even go out to dinner, because he didn't trust himself to not order a drink. Things were super hard for him at the time, but Tom needed to prove a point to himself. After February, the actor went a step further. He said his final challenge was to stay clean till his birthday in June that year. And to his surprise, when he reached that deadline, he knew he was done for good and had fixed the problem he now admits he very much had. The actor's finally at peace with that part of himself. He says he can sleep better, deal with problems better, and doesn't get bothered by the things that used to set him off before. He feels healthier and more fit, and says he's never been happier in his life. One big reason behind this happiness is his superstar girlfriend, the woman of everyone's dreams, Zendaya. She was Holland's leading lady in his Spider-Man franchise, and like Andrew and Tobey before him, Tom too fell in love on the set of the superhero movie. Fingers crossed, this pair has a happier ending than the other two. His relationship with Zendaya's another thing. The actor keeps away from the hungry eyes of Hollywood. He's always said when he's dating someone, he tries to make sure whatever happens between them stays between them. He hates how in the movie industry, everything kind of comes out in front of the entire world. It's one of the things he worries about the most. Tom said he feels completely like himself when he's around Zendaya, which is why he likes to keep that part of his life to himself and doesn't like talking about it. But Tom always gives Zendaya credit for helping him get used to the spotlight. 'Cause back when they started filming Spider-Man, unlike Holland, Zendaya was already used to the crazy world of Hollywood. She became a Disney star at only 14 years old when she starred in Shake It Up, beside Bella Thorne in 2010. Tom said that in the beginning, he wasn't used to strangers coming up to him to ask for pictures, so he'd always be suspicious of fans, and came across as to them. But talking to Zendaya helped him a lot. He said she taught him how to handle those situations, and he's a lot more comfortable in public now because of her. But despite giving up alcohol and having a supportive partner, Tom went through one of the darkest periods of his life when he starred in The Crowded Room in 2023. He landed the role at a very high time in his life, right after the massive success of his third Spider-Man film, No Way Home. The show's based on the novel Minds of Billy Milligan by Daniel Keyes, which follows the story of serial rapist Billy Milligan, the first man who got out of prison because of his mental illness. Only from the plot of the show, you can tell it wasn't an easy project to be a part of, and Tom isn't afraid to talk about how bad things got. The actor's mental health wasn't the best when they started filming the show, and he blames Twitter and Instagram for his state back then. He said he never had issues with mental health before this, but being a young person today is hard for everyone. It's even worse for him, because he's one of the world's most famous young people, and everyone watches his every move. Holland spoke about how hard social media is for him, and said he can't leave the house without people taking pictures of him, and social media brings the world outside to his home too. That's why he got rid of it, because he needed to remind himself of who he is and where he's from, so he can try and live like a normal dude. But the show made Tom's mental state at the time even worse. He said it's the most difficult thing he's ever done, and that it took a toll on his body and mind. But despite hating how filming made him feel, he never gave up on the project. And it's because he's always looking for a challenge, and the message of the show was worth the pain. Although Tom doesn't regret it, he admits the show broke him. Things got so bad in the middle that the actor disappeared. He took a week off and flew to Mexico so he could forget about the whole thing for a little while. But it wasn't enough, and Tom knew he needed a longer break. So in a shocking turn of events, after the show wrapped up its first season, the actor dropped a bombshell and said he's taking a year off acting to focus on his mental health. He explained this is something he has to do because even now, when he looks in the mirror, he sees Danny Sullivan, his character on the show, and not himself. And that's not something he can live with. Tom didn't go through this time alone though. Zendaya and the actor's family were there for him the whole time. And it's for them and his own future that Tom says he needs the break. Good for him. So, from him taking a break to focus on his mental health, to the actor struggling with his growing fame, that's the real reason Tom Holland hates Hollywood.